All right, it's time we learned a bar chord. For some reason, this is one of the hardest chords for beginning students to learn, and there are different ways to play it, but we want to learn the basic bar chord, what we call a type 1. When we say type 1, we mean that the root note of the chord is on the lowest string, like F or G, A, B, and these are movable bar chords. A lot of the chords that you've learned are movable forms, but this is very common in rock and roll and many styles of music that we use bar chords, and you'll see why as you move along as a guitar student and work on songs and watch videos of other players. You'll see bar chords all the time. So it's something that you do have to learn. So when I want a bar like 6 strings, we want a 6-note bar chord. And this is a type, what we call type 1. So I've got A on the bottom here, but I'm actually barring my finger. I'm on the 5th fret here. So my finger, if I do this, you can see that, well, I got my thumb up here and my rest of my fingers are going down this way, and I can't do it. But if I bring my knuckle up, so knuckle comes up, I'm able to bar across those strings much better. We've got to create sound on every string by depressing. Now this is different on every guitar. Your guitar, if it's not set up well, if there's a warp in the neck, or the strings are too high, or the strings are funky, or your frets are not right, you could have issues and this could not sound good. It might be really hard to do. So you want to make sure your guitar is set up well so that you can play bar chords. And when I mean set up, you need to go to a guitar technician, a guitar doctor, and have him go, hey, I need this guitar to play as good as it can. I'm working on bar chords and stuff. So anyways, so once we can get those 6 strings going, and notice that I'm arpeggiating, I'm hitting each string. I want to know 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string. I've got to have equal pressure across this bar. So that's why I say bring the knuckle up and it puts leverage across. It's like a vice grip, I call it. And you should be able to go to every fret. That's the 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret, 10, 7th fret, I strum up, 5th fret again, 3rd fret, and then the 1st fret. It's usually hard down here, okay? But we got to keep that knuckle up, not down here, but up, putting leverage across. So back to A. Once we've got that happening, we're, well, okay, I'm doing pretty good. We want to start putting our fingers in. And this is a type 1 bar chord that we're playing, but I'm going to go down to the key of F so that I can tell you note names, okay? Because you've learned your note names if you're a beginner in the natural scale. And we want to be able to spell this bar chord. So I'm going to say I've got F as 1, the root note, and then I've got my 3rd finger coming in on C. So my 3rd finger's on C. Underneath the C is my baby finger on the F note. So I can't get C right next to the fret, but I can get the 4th finger next to the fret. So your finger placement has to be really good here. 3, 4, and now my 2nd finger is on the A. So I've got 3, 4, that's on the 3rd fret, C, F, and then my 2nd finger A. That looks like an A minor form. If I took A minor, I'm using different fingers. Actually, here's my A minor, same fingering, but we want to change the fingering. We want it 3, 4, 2 instead of 1, 3, 2. So we get that fingering. You've got to know your note names. C, F, A. So now, remember we learned the little F chord. You had those top 2 notes, that C and F, when you did the little F. But now we're doing the big F chord. So if we can get those 3 fingers down and then put our bar behind the 1st fret, and I'm really up against that fret. I'm not directly on it, but I'm up against it. And I'm pressing really hard. I've got the leverage. I've got the knuckle up. And there's my F. I can check each string. F, C, F, A, C, and F on the top. This chord has 3 Fs. And later when you learn intervals, you'll know that that F is what we call the 1, the root. That C is the 5th degree of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we call that a perfect 5th. We've got another root with the 4th finger. And then the magic note is that A, because that's the 1, 2, 3, do, re, mi. It's what's making it a major chord. And then our first finger is barring a C note, which would be another 5th, and then you've got another root on the top. So this F chord has 3 Fs. It has 2 5ths, 2 Cs, and it has that 1 A, which is a major 3rd. So this is a movable pattern. Once you work on an F, bring it up 2 frets to the 3rd fret, and you've got your G chord. Make sure every note's coming out. And your A chord, 5th fret, all 6 strings, B, 7th fret, 8th fret is a C chord. Now you know another C chord. And the D on the 10th. Now the frets are getting closer, so it can get very hard to do your bar chords. I'm even having difficulty on the 12th fret, but 10th fret was pretty good. I was able to get out all 6 strings for my D chord on the 10th fret. So on your bar chord sheet that I have a PDF for, you'll see this A as your type 1 major chord. It's A. And what you're going to learn about that is if you get good sound on your A chord, and let's say you take off your baby finger, then we get what's called an A7. And then we have, by adding the baby finger down here on the B string, you'll have an A added 7. And then we'll learn about an A13. So there's a lot of variations that can start to happen. And then you'll learn if you have that A chord and you take off the 2nd finger, now you have A minor. So now we're going from major to minor. There's your A minor chord, type 1. And if we take off the 2nd finger and take off the 4th finger, we have A minor 7. Beautiful chord. We can also add the baby finger on the 8th fret, B string, A minor added 7, put it on underneath the 3rd finger, way up here on a B note, A minor 9, suspended. So we have all these chords that start coming from learning to do bar chords. And this is your type 1 bar chord. And we're able to get the major chord, the minor chord, which are 2 basic chords, major, and they're movable. G, G minor, F, F minor. Just by moving that 2nd finger. Major, minor, happy, sad, melancholy. Yeah, the world's a positive, negative, right? So, this was dealing mostly with getting you to start to learn what bar chords are about. And you may have an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, or this happens to be a classical nylon string guitar. But your chords feel different on all different guitars, depending how they're set up, depending on the string height, how far your strings are from the fretboard, and the quality of your instrument. And then it depends on, well, how strong are your hands? Are you gaining strength? If you work a lot on bar chords, your fingers will get stronger. Your index finger will get stronger. You'll actually kind of get it calloused, like the tips of your fingers. Because if you played guitar for a while, you've noticed that now it doesn't hurt anymore to press those fingers because they're calloused. The same thing with your bar. When you do a lot of barring, then all of a sudden it's not a big deal to play bar chords. It's just piece of cake, easy, right? So we're going to, in the next video, learn type 2 bar chords. We went through type 1, which was root on the 6th string. And you should really work on those. And whenever you learn a progression, and you learn it in open chords, see if you can go and put it into bar chords. See what happens. Experiment a little bit. I like to use this word sometime. We go on adventures, discoveries. We make discoveries. It's a good way to practice. All right. Well, Robert Noah, guitar time here. I'm your teacher, and be patient with yourself. You know, you work on this stuff, take a break. Work on your scales for a little while. Work on some strumming. And then work on your bar chords for a little while. And if you keep doing it, be diligent, spend lots of time. You will be creative with your practicing and your practice routine. You're going to get good. You're going to get these bar chords and you're going to go, great, wow. You'll keep getting better.